Everybody, welcome back to Wrenching with Grandpa. Happy Easter. Our Lord is risen. I hope you are having a blessed weekend and that the Lord will look after and protect you and your family and friends in the upcoming year. Give your life to the Lord and He will give you the life you need and want. That being said, let's see what's going on. We've had a beautiful weekend here. Moderate temperatures, on and off rain. We're supposedly got some more rain coming in, but let's just kind of hang out for a little bit and see what's going on, okay? We are in full spring and we've got some beautiful azaleas out here. We bought this property many years ago, and the former owner had professional landscaping come in and put in a variety of different kinds of hybrid and native azaleas, and so we get all kinds of beautiful azaleas coming up. There's my beast, the widow. 2005 XC90, 154,000 just rolled over. I've done just about everything mechanically on her. I would drive her to California if I was so disposed to, but we don't want to go to California. This used to be my daily driver. Now it's my wife's. My 2006 Tacoma extended cab. Uh, my son was involved in an accident in my first Tacoma, my 2002 4 cab. It was my work truck, and he had to get to school. He missed the bus one morning in high school. It was dark, it had been raining. And as most of us know, living in the South and in Georgia, a deer ran out in front of him, and he went to avoid the deer and ended up putting the truck in the woods at about 60 miles an hour. The truck was totaled. My son was uninjured. I'll never own another truck than a Toyota. They saved my son's life. All right, now my son's grown. U.S. Marine Corps, and he's driving this 2016 Silverado 4x4, and it is sweet. Oh my God. I'm just glad I don't have the car payments on it that he does. Mine are paid for. uh, anyway, I was hoping that I could get a little more done, but it's been a bodacious week with work and everything. My son had some friends in the Marine Corps come by on Friday night. We got to spend some time with them, and that meant when I got home from work, we had to clean the house and get everything put away, and before they got there. So Grandpa's been kind of busy this weekend. I might need to call in tomorrow and say, well, anyway. Uh, but one of the big things that we did get done this weekend, and we didn't get done this weekend, you'll see. I decided to clean out my iron pile, the old water pump, the exhaust system I cut off, the second of two radiators that were original that were just, I'm sorry, gone. And between my wife and I, thank you, Lord, for having a wonderful, understanding wife, we started kind of organizing, cleaning out, and disposing of some of the extra stuff that we really don't need. Reorganizing all my chrome trim pile, trying to get some of this. Oh, I got a whole bunch of rags cleaned up this weekend. Listen, guys, if you're using microfiber towels, I don't care if you're using them, for whatever. think about how you're caring for them. If you're throwing them in the laundry and cleaning them up for auto detailing versus shop use, there are some different ways and different products you might want to consider using to get the best life out of your shop towels and not totally trash out your wife's washing and dryer in the process. Anyway, if you have questions about that, text me, we'll talk. Yeah, it's just getting some room in here so that we can kind of do some stuff. For my last video, we were, tearing down and getting ready to put all the new brake stuff on this side and get ready to do the other side. Well, you know what? It has been a few years since I got down here and broke into one of these old brake systems. Now, Grant, I grew up rebuilding these brakes, but that was a long time ago. And I'm finding that because of some of the misapplication of the previous installation of brakes, plus the overall condition of the lines and framing and backplate and just everything in this thing, if I'm going to go ahead and spend the time and effort to try to make this right, I've got to get all of this right too. My brake lines, my undercarriage, and all that. So instead of trying to do a video of seeing me put all this together, for one thing, I still have not found and am searching for a hardware kit, because these are old springs. They're still viable, and I could use them, but you know what? That's just part of this whole revelation. I would rather put new stuff on, since I'm going to the effort to put new stuff on. So instead of reusing some of this old hardware, which honestly, in some cases, I'm beginning to believe from what I'm seeing in my research and my own experience, some of this stuff was not installed properly and caused some damage to the parts that didn't need to be. I may be wrong. I'm just saying. So, what I have been doing, other than helping the wife get things kind of cleaned up around here, so she's got a little more of her garden stuff and stuff that we're still going through to go to Goodwill. The back of the Widow right now is loaded for a trip by the store in the morning. What I did try to do after I got my joints working and my flexing working, I came out here because my whole intention was that, okay, I said we're going to bleed this old brake system and get all the junk out of it as part of trying to do this. Well, I decided after I wasn't going to try to put that back together without getting all the new parts. I hadn't hooked that brake line up to the cylinder. My thought was I was going to try to do a vacuum bleed off that line, but my fittings don't work that way. So the only way I could do it was to hook the brake line back up to the cylinder and bleed it from the valve. Well, as hopefully most of us know, if you're going to do a brake bleed, you always go from the far of the cylinder to the master, which would be that one. So I hadn't even really started on doing anything with this side other than pulling the drum off of it to get it turned. And so today, because I'm about wore out, I got out the old wire wheel, Roby on a disc, And we got under here and we just started trying to clean some of the old junk off of everything. And surprisingly so, a lot of all of this is still in very good shape. And the reason why, you're not going to believe this. Well, some of you old timers probably will, because you've dealt with this as yourself if you've been doing some of these rebuilds. Thank God I'm getting too old for this too. Oh, get a visitor. Aunt. Get him, girl. The underside of this car, which was appropriate for the time and the location. This car originally came out of Joplin, Missouri, which is kind of on the borderline of the north and the south, you know, the Mason-Dixon line. And for the early 60s, probably actually through the mid-70s, maybe even later in some areas, maybe, you know, even still today, I don't know, up in the Northeast, excuse me, undercoating was put on these cars to protect them from salt and weather and rusting and things like that. Well, whether this was done originally, I know part of it was from my experience with undercoating, and there has been a second application in some areas of undercoating. But those protective things have kept a lot of this undercarriage once you get all that old crap wired and blasted off. You've got good stuff underneath it. And that's the thing that I'm just totally amazed by, because I've always been a proponent for undercoating, especially, you know, if you're in the right conditions. But just kind of look around. I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, these are shot. I'm going to see about going to the parts store this week and find some new ones for that. But I mean, look at this. That's original factory paint. And these lines actually, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell on this, but they're not in bad shape. They appear to be an aluminum. There is a little bit of minor pitting in some areas, but they're all in fairly good shape. Get over here. Just start trying to get all the crud stuff off the backing plate, and, you know, get this cleaned up enough to where when we do start dealing with the brake bleed, we'll do it from here first. The problem I ran into today is just really aggravating. I've got like 1,500 sockets, metric, standard, blah, 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 crescent wrenches, but the bleeder valve on this cylinder for some reason is just, I'm not finding anything I'm getting just the right grip on, so I've been master blasting the penetrating oil in there to kind of things loosen up, and I'm going through, oh, excuse me, boom, 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 tons of different sockets and everything else, trying to find something that's going to work without me messing it up. Now, I am going to be replacing that cylinder, but right now I just want to get that bleeder valve opened up so I can flush the system before I go and start putting any more stuff on it, to make sure that I don't have to do something I don't need to, like replace brake lines. So, oh, excuse me, folks, I don't have editing capabilities. It's all live feed. You get me as I am, dirty, old, grumpy, and everything else. So what I have been doing is taking the wire wheel and getting up underneath all of the pan and just knocking all of the surface rust, the old undercoating off, and things like that, as well as trying to, kind of get this rear brake area cleaned up. Now, I'm going to throw this out there for any of you that have followed this video into this point. I have seen some different videos and got some different personal opinions in my own on lubrication of your brake assembly. I have seen, and I come from a school where your contact points where your shoes are up against your backing plate. I've had some folks say, leave it dry, because you want to leave everything dry as far as a grease or petroleum based lubricant, because of brake dust. And I understand that. God knows I've opened up enough of these things that look like we won't even talk about it. But I also understand from rebuilding caliper brakes, disc brakes, you need to have some lubrication if you're going to get this stuff all to move without binding up. So I wasn't, but now I am. I will be putting a lubricant, a very thin coating, just enough to, break the friction on these contact points. And I installed this, trying to get something put together, maybe so we could, get something on the channel. But I don't have any kind of a gasket behind it. One did not come with the new cylinder, but I'm going to pull that off and I'm going to RTV it. I'm just going to put some gasket sealant around it. The whole point is to give you some moisture and dust, sealant around that, and so I'm good with that. Whoever has to take that out the next time, hey, it's on you, not me. Okay? So, and as most of us all know too, on the left side of Plymouth in the day, these were left to tighten, right to loosen. On the other side, right tighty, left loose, left loose. You get it. They're backwards. And I'm sure all of us have run across a situation where we've gone somewhere and somebody has put a torque wrench or, on these and snapped a stud because they didn't understand the difference in threading. If anybody knows why they did that, I would love to hear about it, because to me it was like, okay, there's somebody sitting in a cubicle at Dodge Chrysler Plymouth in 1965, and they needed to be a part of the engineering team to give ideas for the next innovation. And this guy, all he come up with, let's change the threads so you can only, change the tires and the studs on one side. And I don't know. I guess I didn't get my full college degree, and I wasn't given the secret handshake to understand that kind of stupid. Anyway, we did get all of the other parts from the exhaust system out of the way, and so just trying to get everything cleaned up back in here. And I was already down there once, but I'm going to do this one more time, because I kind of missed the point of why I was under there the first time. Taking the wire wheel, and hopefully I've got some light where you see this. I've just started, trying to clean a lot of this old undercoating. But look at that. That's factory paint under this undercoating. I mean, yeah, that's what's left of the exhaust hanger, which that's deleted. But got back underneath here, the spare tire area, and it still looks kind of, I just kind of got one pass over it.